Noob D&D Dad here, and we are fresh off of session 38 of my son's campaign that I am DMing for in the Dragon of Icespire Peak, and they had just killed cryovain in Phandalin, and so when they go to Icespire Hold, they're going to fight cryovain's parents, whom I have decided are an adult white dragon and a young white dragon. So the dad is an adult white dragon with a big beard, and the mom is a young white dragon. And I decided when they do finally encounter them, I decided that the mom would have tears coming down her face that are all frozen icicles, and then the dad would be pacing back and forth and be all mad. But we'll get to that in just a minute. So this is session 38. I'm actually recording this November 24th, 2024. This is immediately after. Normally I'm a little behind. I decided I'd record this one so that I am actually caught up. Well, not caught up, but so I don't forget stuff. So the session right before this one is when they had converted over to the new rules. So we're Dragon of Icespire Peak, but now we're the 2024 rules. So in session 38, they go home to their house with a dead dragon body in the yard, and they shower, get new farm clothes on, because Yance, Errol, and Leaf have left farm clothing there for them. And they spend 250 gold to repair their wagon. They spend 150 to get 4 draft horses because Barthen gave them one for free. And I decided Barthen's store has more stuff available since there's this influx of people in Phandalin because of all the refugees coming in because of Mount Hottenau volcano going off. So it makes sense that Barthen's store would have expanded over several levels of player time. So, like I said, the body of the dragon is in their yard, in their house in Phandalin, and the head of the dragon landed on Harbin Wester's place. And the players go back to their house, and I decided that some dude has set up shop across the street with a little table like Lucy from Peanuts, and he's drawing portraits of people, like taking selfies with the dragon body, and he's charging 5 silver to paint the portrait, or to draw the portrait. And there's one family there where the portrait is a super muscly guy with a sword stuck in the dragon standing on top of it. And then the family comes over to get their sword, and it's a super skinny dad guy, and he's like, remember, I wanted it extra muscly. And they hand the picture over to him, and he gives him 6 silver because he's so happy that the artist made him a strong guy. Anyway, so there's this street artist drawing selfies of people in front of the player's house. So they go in, get ready, and I decide to kind of lead them to do a detect magic to see if there's anything on the dragon body, because I want them to roll for some magic items after defeating a dragon. So I have them roll on the new table, where in the new DM guide, so for magic items, the new DM guide actually has these random tables, but it's broken into arcana, armaments, implements, and relics, and it's broken down by rarity. So I have them do 1 roll for each type of magic item on the rare column. So they get a Wand of Fireballs, which is very cool and very timely, a Mace of Smiting, a Berserker Axe, and a Glamour Studded Leather. And then I don't know where this money's hidden on this dragon body, but I also had them get 1,900 gold and 120 platinum. Okay, and maybe this is overkill, but I knew that they were going to go fight 2 dragons soon, so I was kind of laying it on them. So in the head, I had it somehow have on it a potion of greater healing, and then I had one of the teeth start like glowing and lift up out of the mouth and like become like a dagger, like a tooth dagger, and like be glowing and floating there. And I decided to have it be Biff's Dagger of Dragon Slaying. So it's a +3 dagger. It's also a vicious dagger, which is different in 2024 than vicious was in the last one. And it also does an extra 3d6 to dragons and worms. So I had previously invented this dagger for the veterans group, because I'm DMing for a group of them as well, of army veterans, and I just love the item so much that I decided to bring it over into this campaign with my son. So they decide, so there's only 2 places they haven't been yet. One is the Tower of Storms, the lighthouse, and the other is the Icespire Hold. So they decide to go to Icespire Hold first because they had just killed the dragon in Phandalin, and they want to see what is there. And I decided that since we switched to 2024 rules and since they had defeated cryovain, that I would start actually watching their XP and see how that goes so that they level up at good times. So because they're at level 7, they now have 23,000 XP, and so we'll see how this goes. So the cousin couldn't make it this time, and so his character wasn't there, so it was just my son and my friend going here. And at the bottom of the mountain, in the book, it talks about encountering a frozen ogre. So they find this frozen ogre, they de-thaw it, they actually cut its head off and put the cowboy hat on its head and put it on a spike so that it warns people from taking their wagon. But, like I said, because this is supposed to be such an epic episode with the 2 dragons, right? The parents of cryovain, which I mentioned, adult dragon and young dragon. I'm like, they're going to need backup. There's only 2 of them. So I said, in the distance behind you, you hear like horse hooves coming up. And here's your friend that's the cousin who's not there, whose character had previously retired to be the town guard because the cousin wanted to make a new character. We decided that the town guard character would show up for the interest of Phandalin, but also because the cousin wasn't there and we didn't want to run his brand new warlock. So it's kind of story and practical. Anyway, so he shows up and he's like, I'm going to help you guys out. And they're like, yeah. And I decided this right on the spot, but I thought it was the coolest decision, if I may be so bold to call my own decision the coolest decision. And if you've been watching since the beginning, I created 3 NPCs in Axholm: Yance, an old man with a beard, and his 2 sons, Errol and Leaf. They show up from the west on horses, and Yance has become the leader of Axholm and has a crown on and a big cape, and they're riding in V formation. And I decided the music from the movie First Night starts playing as they ride up, and like everyone's like so happy to see each other. Specifically, the track Camelot from First Night is playing. But I just wanted it to be so epic. This like kind of like Avengers Endgame, right, where everyone's like, I'm here too. But my friend said after the session that he thought that was really cool, but at the same time it brought in dread because he's like, yeah, our buddies are here, and then he's like, oh no, if all these people are showing up to help us, this is gonna be really hard. And I was just like, yes. So it kind of did exactly what I wanted it to do, where it's just like, yay, my buddies are here, but also be like, oh my gosh, are we gonna die? Are they gonna die? Like, is this like the ending? And it was such a climactic battle that I was like, I gotta bring in these old NPCs that they love. So they ride the horses up, single file. They get to here, right? Because they're being watched from here. One of the stone cold reavers, these guys, one of these guys is watching them from this spot. So when they get to the door and it's locked, my son firebolts it, because that's how he lives his life, blasts it open. It's not too loud yet to wake up the dragon or to get the dragon's attention. And I decided to give them a little map of this place because my son touched the altar at the Shrine of Savras and had the vision of this location. So I'm like, yeah, you can have a map. Let's make it a little easier. Anyway, so the red leather gang, and I turned the Stone Cold Reavers into this red leather gang from that I had be highway robbers, basically. They're all hiding in H4, and even the lookout had run in there. And so then when the players finally make it there, they burst the door open and everyone's like yelling, everyone like, yeah, we're going to fight you. And the red leather gang guys are like, this is our treasure and you have to get out or we're going to kill you. But then my son and my friend are like, we've fought you before. Like, do you remember us? So they're trying to like persuade them / intimidate them. It's not working. So then my son does the flaming sphere and totally injures 3 of the guys. And then one of the Yance's kids shoots a crossbow at one of them. So basically they reconsider joining. So long story short, my friend does a charisma roll, does an awesome roll for persuasion. These leather gang dudes join them. So now there's a party of 10 to go look for these dragons. So they team up and they're sneaking around and they're like all kind of shifty looking at each other because they don't really trust each other. But they're working their way through the castle and they're like, should we go downstairs or should we go upstairs? And I'm really pushing with these guys like, let's go fight the dragon. Let's get stuff. One of our guys thinks he saw a dragon on the roof. Like, let's go up there, right? And our players are like, well, we just killed a dragon. Like, what's going on? So anyway, they go up on the roof. They go up these stairs and they pop out in here and they look through these arrow slits and they see an adult dragon here pacing back and forth angrily with a beard. And they see another dragon right here. and that's the one that has the icicle tears coming down its face. So the adult male dragon has the big beard, and he's pissed off, and he's pacing back and forth. And then the mom dragon is the young white dragon, and she has icicle tears. And I decided it's practical because I'm sure young white dragon is a huge range of years. So I decided it's practical that an adult dragon and a young dragon can have a kid who is also a young dragon who's cryovain. So this is his parents, and they are on this balcony, and the players are deciding what to do. And finally I'm like, okay, you better roll stealth because this guy has amazing passive perception. Their stealth rolls go good, but not so good. So the dad kind of starts noticing them. So I decided, because what their plan would be if the dragons didn't notice them, is that they would have all of them do like a sneak attack basically. But I decided, since the dragon has such good perception, that only 2 of the entire party of 10 can do something before they have to roll initiative. So my friend with the wand of fireballs and my son with now fireball, they both shoot off a fireball. And the dad dragon has legendary resistance. So I'm using those to not take as much damage. But I'm announcing, okay, I've used 1 legendary resistance. I'm not telling him I have 3, but I'm just telling him I've used 1. All right, this part was not meant for public consumption here, but the dragon got a 16 initiative. The mom dragon got a 14. The leader of the gang of the red leather gang got a 21, and then one of the NPC buddies got a 19, and then my son and my friend don't go until 10. So basically everybody's just winging arrows and stuff out of these little slits, right? And they're hitting the dragon, doing like tiny, hardly any damage, or just missing a ton because his AC is so high. So finally the dad dragon decides to just cold breath, and it is nasty. So it does like 47 damage, and it gets the leader and one of the buddies from Axholm, and then my friend takes 47, my son takes 23. So it's just this brutal cold breath, because these were the ones that were like in the window, so they just took it right in the face. But because my friend just barely got the wand of fireballs, which they rolled randomly for, and my son can do fireball, they're just fireballing like crazy. So they're actually wearing this guy down pretty good. And the dragon's using up all of his legendary resistances. And at this point, I kind of, like, not gonna lie, I forgot about the legendary actions. So it wasn't until he was almost dead that I started using the legendary actions and tail whipping the crap out of people. And every time it came back to the adult dragon's turn, I tried to roll the d6 to recharge his breath ability, and it never recharged. So the female dragon, I had her walk across over to the room that they're in and do a breath attack, but she missed because the distance wasn't good. And the reason I did that is because I rolled a d6, and I'm like, okay, 1 through 3, she's going to do multi-attack. Oh, no, it was 1 through 3, she was going to start flying. 4 through 6, she's going to do the cold breath. And it turned out, measuring the little squares on the map, like, the distance wasn't quite there, but the players were like, you said you rolled. So anyway, she does a cold breath, misses, but it stuffs the 2 of the window slits up with ice. So then they can only shoot down towards the dad. But with the mama dragon, every time I roll to recharge her breath attack, it's successful. So she does 3 breath attacks on them over the course of the battle, and it is not going well. I got the leader of the red leather gang is dead. I've got one of his gang has ran off, and another one is dead. My buddy's dead. So people are just dropping like flies, to the point where I'm having people run over and grab like potions out of people's backpacks and like force it down their throats to try and like bring them up, because the players got a lot of potions from the, what's her name, the lady in the lighthouse, and they also got the potions from the ogre's bag, if you remember. So they're loaded with potions. I also had the dragons go over to that wall and just start like attacking it. I gave the wall AC 15, hit points 75. Figured that's fair for the wall, and the dragons were attacking it and broke it open. So then both the dragons are right there, and the players are just in that tiny room. So then it's just like you got people running up and trying to hit them with swords. You got dragons biting, scratching, whipping their tails. And the cousin character, who's a fighter, who has the Dragon Slayer sword from the Dragon Mound, he eventually does the killing blow of the main dragon, because my son revived him to do that. Actually, that was the second one, but he does the killing blow of the adult dragon, cuts his head off, And then at this point, the other dragon recharges her breath, nukes everybody to the point where only Yance and one of the red leather guys are standing. So one of the red leather guys goes, what does he do? He revives my son, then my son revives the fighter, right? Because he could choose shoot a fireball or revive the fighter. So he revives the fighter runs over, actually does the killing blow on the other one as well. And so my son saved the day by reviving the dude who had the Dragon Slayer sword. And yet another dragon head was cut off. So at this point, in a matter of days, we have 3 dragon heads cut off. Cryovain in Phandalin, and then his parents here at their lair. And so at the time of dragon slaying, my friend had died. He failed his 3rd death saving throw. Well, he failed only 2, but he got a death saving throw failure because the dragon did the dragon breath, and I decided that that cone of dragon breath would hit someone laying on the ground. So that was an instant failure. So I have one of the red leather gang who's run off, and then I have my son, the cousin character who we're basically driving, and then Yance, and one of the, I call him one of the idiots, one of the red leather guys. So 4 people are up at the end of this. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have Errol, Leaf, a guy, and the leader are all at 0 hit points that need to be stabilized. And then our friend, the sorcerer, my friend, has died, like 3 failures. He's dead. So at this point, we're like looking in the rules like, okay, if you find a scroll, can you actually use it? And it looks like in the rules, if it's not in your spell list, you can't use that scroll like at all. It's like unintelligible. So that's kind of weird. So we're like, okay, how do we resurrect them? Are we going to take them somewhere? Like, what are we going to do? Well, I decide to have my son roll on the treasure table. So he rolls a D100. He gets a 96. So I go to the table in the old Dungeon Master guide, and I go to the CR rating 17 plus because the adult white dragon was 13 and the other dragon was 6. So that's a 19. So does that make sense that the treasure hoard would be the combination of those two? CR ratings on these monsters? I don't know. But then from there, I'm like, okay, this takes them to Magic Table I. So then I go to the new Dungeon Master's guide to the tables in the back. And I decide that I'm going to have him roll 4 times in the rare column of each item. So Arcana, Implement, Armament, and Relic. I also decide that I'm going to give them a Rod of Resurrection, which is a legendary item. And the whole time I'm like, no, I'm going to get accused of like not letting people actually die, or my friend's going to be like, just let me die. Like, this is so soft. But I'm like, you know what? I can give them the Rod of Resurrection. And so I did that because they want to keep playing. And I don't know, maybe I'm weak, but I gave them the Rod of Resurrection. And the other items they got were a spell scroll level 5 that they can choose, armor +1, a portable hole, which I think they're going to put the 2 dragon heads in it and take them back to Phandalin, and a staff of withering, which is pretty cool. And yeah, I caved and gave them the Rod of Resurrection. So you can call me weak, let me know. But my son uses the 5 charges on my friend, brings him back to life. Of course, he has all the weird issues now that he's back alive, been resurrected. And my son rolls a 7, so the rod doesn't crumble, and we move on. So that's the end of session number 38. I love the idea of having, if cryovain dies early and the players are kind of getting stronger and stronger, having them fight the parents at Icespire Hold. That's now happened in both campaigns. I love it. My only question right now is the dad was 10,000 HP or XP and the mom was 23. So that's 12,300. And I think you only need 11,000 to level up from 7 to 8. But you divide that between everybody who participated, right? So as per Essentials kit, when you kill a dragon, you level up. But so now I'm like, okay, should I just level them up? Or should I make them get the XP? So I'm a little torn on that because it could go either way. I think I could level them up for killing 2 freaking dragons in a row, or make them do the Tower of Storms and then level up, because then that's 2 missions again. Either way, though, I'm watching the XP to see how it shakes out. But the plan is, at the latest, level them up when they've completed the Tower of Storms. So that's another 2 missions, which has kind of been the pattern. So either XP or 2 missions at the latest. That's where I'm at. Okay, a few takeaways. I'm loving the new 2024 books. I think it merges in with the Essentials kit very nicely. I thought this was a super fun session with the red leather guides, with their old favorite NPCs from Axholm, with fighting 2 dragons. It was epic. Like there was high stakes. Like people were getting zeroed out. And then I thought we found cool treasures. So as a DM, I had tons of fun just making up stuff on the spot. Like bringing in those NPCs, playing the first night music, and which magic items they found. I had an awesome time playing as the DM this time, and still noob. But this has been session 38 of my son's campaign. They've got more of the Icespire hold to explore, and they were going to have to travel the world trying to find a way to resurrect this guy, but I kind of made it happen. So anyway, let me know what you think. I'm having a blast. I'm recording this ahead of when I'm recording my other sessions for this. So this will be, I'll publish it in order, but I've recorded it way out of order. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for going on this noob DM journey with me. And as always, please let me know what you think. I love hearing your opinions and using your advice. So thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.